Welcome to Strange Weekly News. In this show, we'll be taking a look into the news and headlines to pick out curious reports of the strange, the weird, and the mysterious. Anything from UFO news to science advancements, the paranormal, and stuff labeled fringe science and fringe phenomena. Each news item we go over in this live show, I will place all the links to them in the description box below once this live show is over, as well as chapters on the timeline index. Welcome to all of my first time viewers and listeners, and everyone watching this live. Gora G, Jonaside, Zoltan, Kurt, Trash, Sever, Brown, Jessica, Thin Lizzie Borden, hey there, and TMI as well. Welcome. Thank you so much for watching this show live today. Before we get started, I would like to mention that I am hosting a 24/7 live stream of ambient space music on my music channel on YouTube called Cosmic Portals. I will drop the link in the live chat in just a moment. So that means that you can listen and chat with other listeners as well in this 24/7 track, which I think is really awesome. Yesterday, Thursday, on Mysteries with a History with Jimmy Church from Faded Black Radio, we covered the mysteries of the giants, and it got some really good feedback. A lot of you really enjoyed that topic, and I was impressed, but also a little shocked as well. But it is a giants is always a fascinating topic. But today is Weekly Strange News. So let's get into it. And by the way, on top of all this for today's show, I'm going to be doing polls as well today. So keep an eye out for that so yeah, you can pick your option or your choice or even your answer today to make it a little bit more interactive. So I am excited for that, and I even have kind of ish a game for today as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. But let's start off with the big news that so many of us in the UFO field have heard, but some of us might still be a little bit confused. And let me just say it like this: if you know what's going on, you're probably wrong. Let me share this. And I am talking about these craft that have been shot down in US airspace and in Canadian airspace as well. But this isn't happening only here in North America, but also in other parts of the world as well. So let's kind of give that rundown for those that really aren't too familiar with it. So, in the span of 2 weeks in February 2023, US military pilots have shot down 4 mysterious objects spotted over the United States and Canada. The military identified the first of these objects as a 200-foot tall or 60-meter Chinese spy balloon floating approximately 60,000 feet over Alaska in late January. The government tracked the balloon for several days as it floated southeast across the country, eventually shooting it down off the coast of South Carolina with a fighter jet on February 4th. The other 3 objects, which include a car-sized cylinder UFO, was shot down over Canada's frigid Yukon territory, and even a strange octagonal object shot into the waters of Lake Huron as well, and these remain unidentified. And let me just share one of these images here, the one that was shot down, believed to be the Chinese spy balloon. This is some of that debris. Which is, I mean, looking at this image and talking with Jimmy yesterday, and for those that haven't watched yesterday's episode on Mysteries with a History, I do recommend it because not only were we talking about giants, but also looking at how to be a better researcher, how to be an open-minded skeptic, but at the same time to question absolutely everything without losing your sanity, of course. And when I look at this image, the honestly, the first thing that came to mind, I'm allowing you to enter into my brain. The first thing that came to mind when I saw this, and I thought, is this staged? Is this actually the debris? Could it be? Possibly, but is it? I don't know. And I was really questioning this photo that you are seeing right here on YouTube. If you're listening to this on a podcast platform, I do recommend that you jump over to YouTube because I will be sharing a lot of images and videos today as well. But looking at this image, for those that are seeing it for the first time, or for those that have seen it before, What do you think of this image of the military collecting this debris? It looks like it's nothing. It really does. But I would like to hear your thoughts in the live chat and even in the comments if you're watching this on a replay as well. So, these rapid fire incidents have left many wondering why the government is suddenly detecting and destroying many unidentified objects in the US and Canadian airspace. Because, as we saw with that first spy balloon, we saw it for several days and it just went across the country having a good time, right? Doing its thing. And then it got shot down. But as soon as all these other objects are being seen, they're like, let's go. We're going to shut them down right here, right now. We're not going to question anything. We're just going to do it. Why is that? Right? This is a big question that so many of us are asking across the globe, not just in the United States, but everywhere. Why is it happening like this now? So while it's impossible to know for sure how many objects are in a given country's aerospace at any time, government officials have been clear on one point. Following the detection of the Chinese surveillance balloon in late January, the military deliberately broadened its search for foreign objects at similar altitudes. That effort apparently has been successful from these later objects that we've seen. However, when these military officials have been questioned on these objects, they classify them as unidentified until just recently when Joe Biden did a press release yesterday. We're going to get into that, where he stated, yeah, we still don't really know what these are. They're not Chinese, these other three that we've seen and shot down. It's probably private. It's probably a private entity having these objects. But so far, no corporation, no private entity has come out and stated, yeah, what you saw was mine. No one's spoken out yet. Could that change? Maybe, but at this point in time, we're still in the dark. We still don't know. President Joe Biden also mentioned that that information will remain classified. So even if they were to get that information, it wouldn't be made public, at least not any time soon. Now, when we get our next UAP report that we're supposed to get, so first every 6 months, now we're getting it every year, it seems like, it would be really fantastic if that's what we're seeing in these in the beginning of the year, if that's going to be a part of this upcoming UAP report that will be released by Arrow. I don't have high hopes for that between you and me, but I can put like my opinion in a hat, right? And be like, hey, consider this, please and thank you, right? So let's go back to this image right here. And Melissa Dalton, the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Homeland Defense and Hemispheric Affairs, said at a news briefing on February 12th, stating, "We have been more closely scrutinizing our airspace at these altitudes, including enhancing our radar, which may at least partly explain the increase in objects that we detected over the past week." Very interesting. Cassidy, thank you so much for the super sticker and supporting the channel. I do appreciate it, and also supporting the RV fund as well. So this what we're covering today really is, overall, this topic, it just makes you question everything. Why is this information coming out now? Why is it being made public? Why is even the Chinese government, the CCP, coming out and stating, yeah, we're also seeing these objects as well? Why? What is the purpose? Is it true? Is it a distraction? Is it to not leave the public in the dark and maybe doing drip feed disclosure of some kind? Is it all of the above? Is it none of the above? I have all of these questions ever since the first report came out of this spy balloon, and then seeing all these other objects as well being written in the news, blowing up to the point where there are memes. Memes are coming out about this topic. It's also becoming a more open conversation as well. But my skeptical mind is saying, why? What is the purpose? So I would like to hear your thoughts on that as well. Jessica says, definitely a red flag. So does XR, red flag. I see what you mean. Chris says, it's the start of the narrative of an alien invitation. Nice. Or innovation. Also invitation. Why can't it be both? Right? Paul says, misdirection. Possibly. Yes. I do agree with you with that. For the most part. And I would again like to mention that all of these links to these articles will be in the description box below once this live show is over, so that you can read these articles in depth at your leisure. Now, I'm going to place a poll right now, and the question is, what is being shot down? A, balloons, B, drones, C, foreign aircraft, or D, non-human technologies. So I'm going to put that in. Please vote on that. I would like to hear what you have to say, what's on your mind, because that's what Weekly Strange News is all about. I share articles with you, all the strange news, and then I like to hear your thoughts, your insights, and your opinions as well. Then Lizzie Borden, we're going to touch on that. You're seeing into the future. Battle of LA Part 2. Yes. Scott says distraction. But BC says we're not alone. Lex brings up a great point. Balloon-like entities that we saw in the latest UAP report. What does that mean? Why can't they just say balloons or something else? What does balloon-like entities mean? And we haven't gotten an answer on that just yet. A little bit disappointing. So please answer that poll while I still continue with this topic for this first article. So meanwhile, China has claimed that the US has flown spy balloons into its airspace more than 10 times since January of 2022, and this was reported by the National Public Radio. So you're seeing two countries doing this blame game. You're doing spy balloons, no, you're doing spy balloons, but then there's also a few reports coming out of, okay, it's neither yours, it's not mine, what's going on here? Now, with that press hearing with President Joe Biden, he stated, "We don't yet know exactly what these three objects were, but nothing right now suggests that they were related to China's spy balloon program or that they were surveillance vehicles from any other country. The intelligence community's current assessment is that these three objects were most likely balloons tied to private companies studying weather or conducting other scientific research." Now, let me hear what you have to say about that as well. So please answer the poll and then also your thoughts on this. Could it be a private entity? Possibly. Could it be a private company? Maybe, but at some point in time, they will have to come out about it because it is causing a lot of hysteria. But at the same time, it is a threat. It is dangerous when you're not telling the government, hey, I'm flying this in this airspace. I need to let you know. That's like a part of protocol for the most part. So when they're not doing that, it's like, okay, what's going on here? Or is it extraterrestrial altogether? I mean, that is something that a lot of people are questioning. It is something that could and should be considered. But in this poll that I put out, that is also an option. So please let us know. Scree says, balloon drones. Maybe. Well, while you continue digesting that information, I'm going to get over to our next article, and it is also another UFO article as well. This image right here is just a visual aid because we're going to be talking about Romania. This image right here is a painting in one of the Romanian museums. And if you look at it, that does look like a UFO. But that is not really too much related to this article that was just recently released because Romania briefly scrambled military jets and neighboring Moldova temporarily closed its airspace Tuesday after authorities in both countries reported mysterious weather balloon like objects traversing their skies. Once again, you are hearing weather balloon like objects or balloon like entities. We're seeing it once again. James, thank you so much. It says balloons are the new swamp gas. And then after balloons, it's drones. Drones are also the new balloons, and balloons are the new swamp gas. You're absolutely right there. Hides. Puck looks ready for the weekend. Puck is always ready for the weekend. He's a big sleeper, big napper. The incident occurred at around midday local time and briefly raised concerns in the two Eastern European countries, both which border Ukraine and have been affected by Russia's war. Romania's defense ministry said it deployed two jets that are under NATO command to its southeastern skies to seek an aerial object that it described as being small with characteristics similar to a weather balloon. Once again, we are seeing that. It has been detected initially by radar systems in Romanian airspace at an altitude of about 11,000 meters or 36,000 feet. A ministry statement said, adding that the two military aircraft stayed in the vicinity for about 30 minutes before returning to base. The crews of the two aircraft did not confirm the presence of the aerial target, neither visually nor on the onboard radars. Romanian Foreign Minister told reporters at UN headquarters in New York that the Romanian fighter jets did not find any object, even if it was reported and spotted on the radar. So, no threat for the Romanian airspace. Okay, so it seems like what we're seeing here is we saw it, then we didn't see it, therefore it's not a threat. What are your thoughts on that? It is interesting that more countries are coming out, more military officials are coming out. They are chasing down these objects and they're making that information public. We have never seen anything like this. But in 2023, things are blowing up, in my opinion. Yes, we had the Foo Fighters in the 1940s that came and left. But now, look at this. We have Romania, we have Russia, we have China, we have the United States, even in um, Uruguay as well. Their Air Force have also mentioned following these objects with military funding, really, and making that information public. We've never seen anything like that. For the poll results that I did for the last article, 48% said the majority were balloons, and 21% say non human technologies. Very interesting, guys. I love hearing your thoughts and your input. Really do. So thank you for answering these questions. I did. I did. Danny, bring up a good question. You are right. So it's unclear whether the two incidents were related, and neither country said where they believe the objects had come from. The incident triggered widespread travel and a brief panic when authorities temporarily closed the country's airspace over what they later described as an object similar to a weather balloon spotted near the northern border with Ukraine. Given the weather conditions and the impossibility of monitoring and identifying the object as well as its flight path, the decision was taken to temporarily close the airspace. Now, you would not do that if there wasn't a threat. You would not do that if you said, no, it's definitely a balloon, the way that it's flying. And you would also, in some way, you would trust your pilots that if they're seeing something, they would follow it with their jets and say, no, nothing to worry about here. But for them to temporarily close down their airspace, there was a threat factor there. There was a fear factor, but then they jumped back and they said, nope, no fear, no threat here. Interesting, it really is. If you are enjoying these articles so far and the show today, make sure to hit the thumbs up. It really does help this channel and the YouTube algorithm to push this video out to more people. So thank you if you're enjoying it. Moving on, this one is a strange one. This one, I'm going to give you my insights on this after I read to you this article because I watched you know what? I'm just going to hold it. I'm just going to read this to you before we give you my opinion. See, I'm sharing my opinion here today with this article because I do have one. So I came across this article. It's about a ghost wedding where a woman, that what you're seeing here, called Bricard, married a 36-year-old ghost named Eduardo. And they got married in October on Halloween Day of last year. An article was just written about this a few days ago. That's how I came across this story. So she stated that her first encounter with her spooky soulmate was just one night 2 years ago, out of the blue. And then after 2 years, they decided to tie the knot or get married. But it hasn't really been smooth sailing because after their wedding on Halloween of 2022, they're now going to couples therapy. Yeah, I wonder how that went. So she states that if you were to tell me 5 years ago that someone was marrying a ghost, I would say that you're absolutely crazy because you can't always understand the supernatural. But after she had an encounter with Eduardo, she said, now I can understand. You bring up a good point, Chi. She'll never know when it cheats on her. Absolutely right. The spooky encounters still continued after she had a few experiences with this entity. And she stated that she gets visions of him and gets information, and that he is, in fact, a Victorian soldier, 36 years old. He died by falling down a well, and he had shoulder length hair and was very handsome. So, as this pair grew closer, she states that it's better than any earthly connection. But in time, she saw another side of Eduardo, the Victorian ghost, and she says he can be quite jealous. If I ever lay out a revealing outfit, he'll rip it up or hide it and then vanish for a few days. And I wouldn't put up with that behavior from a living man. But the reason I am so forgiving with Eduardo is that I'm so intrigued and still wonder why I was chosen. So I want to give this relationship my all. So she's kind of more the curious type. Is she really in love with Eduardo? I am not sure, but she's given it a shot, and she's realized that just a little while after getting married, they have to go through couples therapy. Now, if you want to read this in detail, you absolutely can, but I do want to share my insights on this. Also, I am placing up a poll right now. Have you ever seen a ghost? Yes? No? Or I think so? That poll will be up in just a moment, and please answer that while I give you my thoughts on this. So, this woman in the UK has gone kind of viral. She is getting a lot of attention having this wedding with a ghost. And I watched a few times where she spoke on camera, and there's a lot of red flags for me. Personally, I love reading body language. I also have thoroughly enjoyed studying psychology in university, child psychology into adult psychology as well. And one of the classes that was required was learning how to read body language. And this is important for like your everyday to day life. If you haven't taken a class, you can even find it on YouTube. I do highly recommend. And so when I was watching this, I'm like, this is kind of bizarre. And the reason is the way that she would express things, the way that she would attempt to get attention when he would show up at certain venues. And I will place that link to where what video I'm talking about in the description box below. But let's say this woman is really having an encounter with a ghost. My best possible explanation, like let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Let's just do that, okay? Because we can't be disrespectful and say that she's absolutely crazy when she might believe this. What I would say is there could be an instance where she is in contact with an incubus or a succubus. Now, we have covered this before on this channel. I have had Chris and Amanda on, along with Nathaniel Gillis, who have both talked about these entities. And they're these dark, demonic, sexual entities. And there have been a lot of stories that have been made public of people encountering these types of entities, especially at night, and it gets very physical. Or could it be a mask memory for abductions for this woman that we're seeing right here? Could it be interdimensionals or shadow people? It could very well be. Now, with stories when it comes to demons, right? Looking specifically at the incubus and succubus and bringing those two together, they're always defined as being liars, manipulators. They're able to shapeshift as well. So, what if this entity was stating, "No, I'm an innocent guy from the Victorian era. I'm 36 and I'm madly in love with you. Let's get married." Let me just quickly tell you how that story went for them. She was asleep one night. She felt this indent in her cheek. Then on her bed was this ring, apparently an engagement ring. She takes a shower. The mirror is super steamy, and it's written through the steam of the mirror, and it says, "Will you marry me?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh, this ghost is proposing. I'm going to say yes because why not? Let's go for it." And then there weren't many people that would conduct this wedding ceremony. She found one right here. And then also going into couples therapy, she has to contact a psychic, right, that can actually supposedly communicate with Eduardo to patch things up in their relationship. But that's where my mindset goes. Do I think that she's crazy? No. Do I think that maybe she isn't dealing with a dark sexual entity? Possibly, coupled with also creating another story as well. And you can kind of tell with the way that she speaks and the way that she gets attention from the stories that she's telling as well. So it's a really interesting story. It's very strange. It's very, very weird, but it is something that I think should be covered today because there are people that go through things like this. So this is just a really, really strange story, right? But I have heard of things like this before in China, Japan, and Korea. Marrying spirits is still regarded seriously away from the cities, like in old traditions. This isn't anything new, but for the Western mentality, yeah, it is pretty darn weird. If you want to read that article, that link will be in the description box below once this live show is over. And I have this one hair and it's just gosh, hit my nose. Well, this next one for you, I actually have a video that I'm going to share and play while I read this article to you. Now, for this poll that I just put up, 41% of the audience has seen a ghost. That's a pretty good percentage. Now, was it from the corner of your eye? Did you see it right on, straight on? Did you feel it? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the live chat as well, because I would like to hear that. Kurt, yeah. Yeah, I know it is. Sever says ghosts are scary stories. They definitely are. I see what you did there, Hides. That's a funny one. That's very funny. Todd says that makes getting catfished look legit. Yeah, it does. And her story does go more in depth for those that do want to continue reading that. So let me share my screen here of this video. It's a UFO sighting. I would like to hear your thoughts on what you think this object may be. Actually, objects. It is multiple. So let me put that up. I've seen. Have you, Gomez? Have I seen a ghost? I haven't straight on seen a ghost. I have had the haunted vacuum story for those that know it. Know it. I think I might have maybe seen a ghost in the woods when I was like 6, or could have just have been a person in a costume. I really don't know. So I don't think I've seen a ghost straight on. Not to my knowledge, at least. All right, let me share my screen here of this video that took place in Washington, February 13th, February 14th. All right, let me share this, and I'm going to play that while I read this to you. There is no audio. So on the evening of February 14th, 2023, some residents of Washington reported seeing mysterious lights and objects in the sky. According to one witness who captured the incident on video, the UFOs appeared to be moving in unusual patterns and directions and were not easily explained as any known aircraft or natural phenomenon. The witness also ruled out the possibility that the objects were from a nearby airport or military base, as they were seen in a different direction and distance. I'm going to play that video one more time for you. But some of, as you can tell, some of the lights kind of rose up. And then the flare falls. So those lights were rising up and then moving different directions. According to the witness, at least. So, if you're listening to this on a podcast platform, jump over to YouTube so that you can see this video and then come up with your own conclusions on what you think we're seeing. Is it something really unexplained? Is it explainable? I want to hear your thoughts and your insights on this. The footage shows 5 glowing orbs hovering and moving above the cityscape. The color and intensity of the lights vary and seem to pulsate or flicker at times. In one clip, the UFOs seem to merge and split or change their shape and size while emitting a humming or buzzing sound. In another clip, the lower object appears to have a sudden turn or jump, as if avoiding something or adjusting its trajectory. Let's play that again. The witness said that he had never seen anything like this before, despite living in the same building for almost 2 years. The witness also noted that the distance between Olympia and Seattle Airport, which is the closest major airport, is about 55 miles, and there were no other visible planes or helicopters in the area at the time of the sighting. The witness encountered something rather similar, but he also encouraged others to come forward and share their experiences and hoped that experts or investigators could shed some light on what these UFOs might be. So, what do you think the glowing lights are? Flares, military aircraft, non human technologies, or not sure, need to know more? I'm going to place that poll up so that you can answer on what you think. Sever, thank you so much for the super chat and supporting the channel. I do appreciate that. Apple, you still made it. Welcome. Welcome. Yeah. Mark says something has just been different since about 2020. It's a different world. It is. And it seems like over these last, I want to say like the last 2 weeks, it's gotten really intense. We are seeing UFOs in the news consistently. And people are interested. People want to know more, but they also don't know where to turn or who to trust. They get this little burst of information or even inspiration from the mainstream media. And then from there, they're kind of just like left to their own devices. They're like, who do I listen to? What do I read? What do I watch? And I think that shows such as this one that cover UFOs, it fills in those gaps. It also gives people that aren't familiar with the topic a foundation as well. And that's what I'm here for, is to not only inspire you about everything strange and mysterious and UFOs, of course, but also to lay a good foundation, because like so many, we just recently got interested, let's say in 2017, if that's where all the interest really started. But for the most part, you're going in blind. That's how I was when I first jumped in. I'm like listening to all of these shows and I'm saying, what's Roswell? Why are they just touching on it and then running away to another topic? Like, what happened? And so with this show, with this channel, it's all about giving a foundation for those that are just getting into this topic. So we have to be grateful for the media touching on these stories, making it go viral, and then we fill in those gaps. So we're living in really interesting times. We really, really are. This next article that I have for you, it was the title that really got me. And I'm thinking, what the heck am I reading here? This is by space.com. And the title is Artemis 1 moon launch was as loud as 40 million bowls of Rice Krispies. What? Out of everything you could measure sound with, Why would you measure bowls of Rice Krispies? It was 40 million bowls. So it was the title that really got it for me. So we're gonna go ahead and read that. I'm gonna share my screen here as a visual aid. But how many of you like Rice Krispie cereal, or even like Rice Krispie snacks? The ones that are made with marshmallows. Ah, those are delicious. I really like those. But I do like the chocolate Rice Krispies, not the plain ones. Those are kind of bland tasting. The chocolate ones, though, those have my heart. All right, so let's share this with you. A new study has found that the launch of NASA's Artemis 1 mega moon rocket created sound levels far more powerful than predicted. To reach that conclusion, a team of investigators studied noise levels that were recorded using 5 different microphones located between zero point 0.9 miles and 3.1 miles from the launch pad, or about 1.5 to 5.2 kilometers. And this took place in the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Noise levels at each of the 5 microphones exceeded those that were predicted to be created by the launch of NASA's Space Launch System, the SLS rocket, in some cases by nearly 20 decibels. As someone who the person that is writing this states, as someone who has seen a launch in person can attest, rocket engines create a crackling sound due to the shock waves created by the intense sound pressure levels. In a statement studied by co author Whitney Coyley said that researchers found that the Artemis 1 noise level at 5 kilometers, about 3 miles, had a crackling quality about 40 million times greater than a bowl of Rice Krispies. So he is the one that brought this to the public. That measurement of 40 million bowls of Rice Krispies. The study was conducted in part to help dispel myths and urban legends surrounding the noise levels associated with powerful rocket launches. For years, there have been claims that the launch of the Saturn V rocket used throughout the Apollo program was loud enough to melt concrete or ignite grass over a mile away. We hope these early results will help prevent the spread of possible misinformation, as happened with the Saturn V. Interesting. Now, for this poll that I just put up, 51% of the audience said that they are not sure, need to know more. 28% of audience said that they are non-human technologies, and only 5% think that they are flares. So it's a really interesting. For those that want to jump back and watch that, please go ahead, because that is a really interesting video that took place in Washington just a few days ago. And then going back into this article, I didn't know about these myths talking about that the sound can melt concrete or ignite grass over a mile away. Have you heard of these myths? I haven't, but apparently, obviously, they're not true. But let's say someone were to write that. Would you believe that is possible? I mean, these rockets are ginormous. They require an excessive amount of fuel. They create an immense amount of energy. If you were given that as a like, let's say someone presented that to you as a fact, would you believe it? Probably a lot of people would, because why not? Which sounds really cool. The sound that can melt concrete. I'm in that. I think that's awesome. All right. Moving on to our next article. I have so many for you, and I'm so excited because today is such a great day covering so many cool things. So I'm going to share my screen here because we will be talking about AI. It's a hot topic right now, and it has been, well, let's say since 2020, give or take a little bit. So, a new poll found that while most Americans expect there will be a time when entire news articles will be written by artificial intelligence, a majority said that it would be a bad thing. The survey conducted by the Monmouth University Polling Institute showed that 72% of Americans believe that AI will be used to write entire news articles. The poll also found that 78% said using AI software to write articles would be a bad thing, and 65% said students could potentially use programs to cheat on school assignments. More than 90% of Americans said that they are aware of AI. And of that number, 35% reported hearing about recent developments in AI technology, according to the poll. Around 60% also said they have heard of ChatGPT, an online AI program that can write responses to typed in prompts. Patrick Murray, director of the independent Monmouth University Polling Institute, said in a statement, AI has started to permeate every facet of life. Most Americans are skeptical that this is a good thing, even though many of them use some form of artificial intelligence on a regular basis already. Only 9% of Americans believed that AI would be more good than harm to society, as 41% it would do more harm, and 46% said it would do equal levels of good and harm. More than 70% of Americans reported that machines with the ability to think for themselves would hurt the economy, and 56% said that it would hurt people's quality of life. These are interesting points that are made and interesting questions that were created by the poll. The research also found that most Americans, around 55%, are now worried about AI one day threatening human existence compared to 2015, and only 44% are just worried about AI altogether. We've spoken about AI a few times here on Weekly Strange News. Many of you might know my standpoint, and it's really a catch-22. As it's mentioned here in this article, a lot of people are using it daily. Probably all of us are using it on a daily basis, even if we know it or not. And it's something that we've become so accustomed to, we're very used to it, but it can be a bad thing if it exceeds its bounds. We've seen Google have its issues with Lambda, right? We are seeing reported issues with similar programs such as ChatGPT, and people are scared. They think that they're going to potentially lose their jobs. They could these AI entities could be in control, like we've seen in so many sci-fi movies. A really good example of this is I, Robot with Will Smith. So it's it's inevitable. It is in our future, but I think it just depends on how we control the situation and if we remain knowledgeable in it as well. So I'm going to place a poll up, and that is, would you prefer to read news articles by AI rather than the human hand? A, yes, prefer to read AI articles. B, no, prefer human articles written. Or C, anything without bias is good. Or D, unsure. Please let me know in that poll. I want to hear your thoughts and your insights. Because if we have articles written by AI, for instance, right, you would assume, right, we're assuming here that there wouldn't be bias. They're going to get straight to the facts. But then the question would be, how would they interview witnesses? Because as we know, for a lot of journalism and reporting, witnesses are involved to write up a paper of some kind or an article, right? How would they get that information? Would they just ask a question via email and then get a response by the witness? Because asking them in person might be a little bit too difficult. Maybe. We are aware that there is a lot more technological advancements when it comes to robots, making them look more humanoid, because it's believed by these corporations and these companies that are creating these robotic AI human looking entities, their purpose is to allow us humans to connect with them better, to have better conversations with them in customer service versus like seeing like an actual robot. Obviously, you're not going to have a full blown conversation. There was this article that we covered here on Weekly Strange News a while back about a robot in the Middle East of a female barista that can make your drinks for you. But if you ask for a story, it'll also give you a story as well, like a like a story time of some sort, which is kind of weird, kind of interesting. And the robot is supposed to look like a very famous model as well. So it looks very humanoid. And that purpose was to not only create very effective business and effective creating effective coffee, but also having this somewhat human connection with this robotic AI barista as well, because they have the feature of storytelling, which is kind of weird. But let me know in the live chat, let me know in the poll, would you prefer to read news articles by AI rather than the human hand? Poll results, only 5% would prefer AI articles. Interesting. And then we have right here, take a look at that. Only 6% would prefer AI articles, not 5. That number changed rather quickly. And 60% prefer humans. Valid. I mean, that's what we've been getting since the beginning of time. So there's going to be that drastic shift between humans and then AI. Now it's 61%. Nice. Hyde says, I'd like to hear an AI do stand up comedy. That's probably to come if we haven't seen it already. Would their jokes be funny? Probably. They probably would be. Why? Because they'd make jokes about themselves and then we would laugh out of discomfort, but also maybe because it's actually funny as well. Because as we know, comedy does have a science, it does have. You could make it into an equation if you wanted to, and that's how you can lay down some good jokes. So, probably be really good comedians. All right. This one, okay. So, as I had mentioned to some of you, we were going to kind of sort of play a game, and that's happening right here, right now. Again, it's sort of. I came across this article that says 27 weird UFO facts that will leave you scratching your head. Well, we're only going to be covering 10 of those 27, some of the best ones, in my opinion. Because some of these I was like, no, what? I didn't know that. Others I was like, yeah, of course. But for this kind of ish game that we're going to play, with every fact that I read to you, say if you knew it or not. Maybe you might be surprised on how many you knew or how many you don't know. So let's get into that. This image, just as a visual aid, I have a few of them. So let's start. Fact number 1. There were a total of 12,618 UFO sightings from 1948 to 1969. The Air Force investigation of UFOs began in 1948 and was known as Project Sign. It was later renamed Project Grudge, and then it became Project Blue Book in 1953. Number 2, the term UFO was used in what year? This is my question. The term UFO was used in what year? If you guessed 1947, then you are right. The flying saucer reported by pilot Kenneth Arnold was given the term UFO, or unidentified flying object. UFO was used to describe any aerial object that was seen but not identified. Number 3, a secret panel was developed to investigate UFO sightings in 1953. Because of the increase in UFO sightings, the CIA prompted the government to develop a secret panel to investigate the sightings in 1953. The Robertson panel was headed by H.P. Robertson, a physicist at the California Institute of Technology in Pasadena, California, and include other physicists an astronomer, and also a rocket engineer. The Robertson panel met for 3 days in 1953 and was briefed on military activities and intelligence. They also reviewed films and photographs of UFOs. Their conclusions were that UFOs were not a direct threat to national security, and that the majority of the UFO reports that were collected by Project Blue Book could be explained. Interesting. Mark, thank you for being so honest. This is new to me. Yes, fantastic. A UFO in Los Angeles caused 5 deaths in 1942, shortly after the US joined World War II. There was an air attack over Los Angeles after an unidentified flying object was seen. This is also known as the Battle of LA. At that time, newspapers published a number of reports and speculations of a cover up to conceal an actual invasion of enemy airplanes. When documenting the incident, the United States Coast Artillery Association identified a weather balloon as the cause of the hysteria. They concluded that once the firing started, imagination created all kinds of targets in the sky and everyone joined in. But because of the chaos, 3 people died in a car accident and 2 died of heart attacks. That is right. If you do want to know more information about the Battle of LA, Jimmy and I covered that in the Mysteries of California. And I think we covered it on another show as well that was rather recent. It is a really fascinating story about that. It's super famous, but at the same time, a lot of people actually aren't familiar with it. And because of this, it seems that it caused 5 deaths. Number 5, anticipation of a UFO sighting caused a mass suicide. The Heaven's Gate mass suicide claimed 39 victims in 1997. Heaven's Gate was a religious cult led by Marshall Applewhite, whose members were convinced that an alien spacecraft was hidden behind a comet so that it would go undetected. Applewhite and 38 of his followers drank a lethal mixture and then they laid down to pass away. They were hoping to leave their bodily containers, their meat suits, and enter the alien spacecraft and pass through Heaven's Gate into a higher existence. Yeah. Well, I would like to mention this that I do have a surprise prize draw for you all, and I'm going to put a word in the chat following a hashtag. Type in that word into the chat, and you will be entered into a prize draw for a Starbucks gift card. The word to enter is hashtag strange. We're playing a game today, guys. Who wants to win a Starbucks gift card? Put hashtag strange and you will be entered into a prize draw. While you're doing that, let's continue with number 6. Thousands. This one, guys, blew my mind. Okay, listen to this. I had no idea about this one. Thousands of Americans have taken out insurance against aliens. I did a little extra research on this one because I'm like, there's no way. Let me read this to you. There are a great number of people who have taken out insurance against being abducted by aliens. One insurance broker, Mike Lawrence, has been selling this insurance for 34 years. He sells this $10 million alien abduction insurance policy for just $24.95. According to the company, they've paid out a total of 2 claims since they began offering the policies back in 1987. So let's talk about that. So this agency, a Florida company that is locally referred to as the UFO Abduction Insurance Company, decided to capitalize on the people who don't agree by offering an alien abduction insurance policy. And as of July of 2019, they sold over 6,000 policies. Mike Lawrence said his idea started back in 1987. He was watching a CNN interview when a guy named Whitley Strieber, That name sounds familiar. Who wrote a best-selling book called The Communion, which if you don't know who he is, we have interviewed him right here on this channel on Shifting the Paradigm, talking about all about his alien abduction and the multiple books that he's written as well. Continuing on with this article, he said that he wasn't really paying attention to UFOs or alien abductions and didn't really follow the stuff until he heard this interview with Whitley Strieber back in 1987. Within 15 minutes, he wrote the outline of the coverage that he was going to do, and he barely changed them until about 5 years ago. And now he's been selling them like hotcakes, which I am so shocked. Okay, let me pull this up. Okay, hold on. I need to pull this up for our draw a little bit later today, which I'm so excited to do this for the first time. But while we are doing that, let me continue with this. So, right off the bat, would you buy this alien insurance? Because here's how you would make a claim. The claim department, run by Mr. McLean, said that it's not too easy to make a claim, because he says here that for the claim to be accepted, you have to get a signature of an onboard alien, and now you have to do this to get the policy and then get a membership card, and then you can just scan it, and then you can file a claim that way. That's only if you can talk to the aliens and have them let you scan that as well. So it's a bit difficult, and apparently they have offered 2 claims during those years. So would you get alien insurance? Overall, it was made as a joke. The insurance broker had mentioned this, but people are still buying into it either as a joke or being legitimate. Difficult to say. Okay, so for those that still want to enter into the prize giveaway, please enter instead #strange news. Okay, strange news is what you want to put, not just strange. So do that again, strange news. I just put the hashtag in so that we can do that. Here we go. And I'm pulling this up. It's my first time doing this, so please give me a moment so that I can do that here. All right, I'm going to share my screen. So we have 2 entries so far, which if the less entries, right, it's going to be better for everyone that's doing the entry. Hold on, I'm trying to, there it is. Okay. All right, now we have 12 entries. Guys, Starbucks gift card. We're doing this for the first time today, and I'm so excited to do this. We got 12 entries, 14 entries. Come on, come on. How many entries can we get? Put hashtag strange news to win a Starbucks gift card. Because you know what? Sounds like fun, right? Come on. 18. Let's keep going. Well, while you are doing that, I'll give you a little bit more time. Let me read this fact number 7. The earliest recorded UFO sighting in America was in 1639. Puritan John Winthrop, governor of the Massachusetts Bay Colony, wrote about a strange sighting in the sky in 1639. He wrote that James Irville, a sober man, witnessed a flaming light in the sky that was about 3 yards square while in a boat with a couple of friends. When the light moved, it looked like a large swine. Then, when the light finally faded away, the 3 men in the boat were stunned to find themselves 1 mile upstream, as if the light had transported them there. Interesting. How many entries? We got 27 entries. Come on. 195 people are watching this right here, right now, live. Put in your entry. Put in the live chat hashtag strange news to be a part of the draw. I'm expecting so many more people doing this draw. Come on, guys. 194 people watching. Come on. Bring it on, right? Fact number 8. Scientists have sent aliens. A mixtape. Now, when this was created back in 1977, they would not have called it a mixtape, but in 2023, that's what we're calling it. And this is known as the Golden Records. Many of you might know it, a few of you might not. This was all created by Carl Sagan, and they put in music, they put in whale sounds, they put in sounds of the environment like wind, rain, and things like this, which is very cool. And then they put it out into space, and they're like, look, if aliens are going to come, they're going to know what our civilization is like right here on Earth. And the songs from all over the world. There's 55 languages as well on that record, which is really cool, but also kind of, I mean, like, kind of weird, I think. Be like, who actually wants to listen to this record? What do they think that our music is absolutely terrible, right? They might think that for some. But these are all older songs, and I think that older songs are kind of better than the modern day stuff. Okay, we have 37 entries. Should we do the draw now then? Or shall we wait a little bit longer? Put in hashtag strange news so that you can win. Well, you know what? With all this hype, we're actually going to do this draw at the end of the show. So we got 30 more minutes. Hang tight, sit tight, put in hashtag strange news. I will remind you a few more times, and we will do the draw to where one person is going to win a Starbucks gift card. Ooh, guys, I'm excited. I really am. We got 2 more facts before we move on. And I'm going to take off this just to remember. I'm going to have it out, but we're going to not share my screen of that right now. But let me share this as a visual aid. We have UFO Day. And it started all back in 2001. UFO Day takes place July 2nd every single year since 2001. Did you know that? If you're a part of UFO Twitter, you might be aware of it, but for the most part, you're like, what? There's a World UFO Day? Yes, there is. Yes. And the last fact is there have been more UFO sightings in the northern states than the southern states of the United States. So you are more likely to see strange sightings in the sky if you live in the states like Washington, Montana, Vermont, Alaska, and Maine. And all of those states have the most recorded sightings, whereas southern states like Texas, Louisiana, Georgia, Mississippi, and Alabama have the least. The more you know. Out of these 10 facts that we covered right here, right now, how many did you know? How many did you not know? Please let me know in the live chat. Please let me know in the comments as well. Because I'll be honest, there were a few I was like, I didn't know this, like alien abduction insurance. I didn't know about that. Do I need it? It's going to be really hard to get a signature from the extraterrestrial on board and being like, look, you're abducting me. I need that signature so I can get paid. Thank you very much. It is very odd. All right, we're gonna share screen here for this next article. It's actually a pretty cool image. Let me pull this up. All right. Researchers have linked brain-computer interfaces, BCIs, like the one Neuralink is working on, to bizarre, unpredictable, and little understood cognitive changes, including some that might completely alter your identity and sense of self. So, of course, the BCIs cause change, says Anna Welkser, a philosophy professor in the Department of Medical Ethics and Health Policy at the University of Pennsylvania. The question is, what kind of changes does it cause? And how much do those changes matter? Researchers stress that they are not exactly sure why BCIs, other than the fact that they're literally inside of your brain, cause such changes, but that the changes and the changing is very clear. Sometimes scientists say that they can be positive, particularly in cases where brain related illnesses may have caused patients to feel far away from themselves. Many felt that the disease had robbed them, these mental diseases. In some ways, of who they were really impacts their identity, their sense of self. And if you can't do the things that you think of yourself to be able to do, that affects your mentality, which is totally valid. But in other cases, patients have reported back feelings of alienation, or even that the implants make them feel unlike themselves. The lack of ability to self identify is unsurprisingly deeply unmooring, as so much so that there has been at least one known attempted suicide as a result of the BCI's induced self alienation. This is important. Frederick Gilbert, a philosophy professor at the University of Tanzania with a specialty in applied neuroethics, said the notions of personality, identity, agency, authenticity, and self, they are very compact, obscure, and opaque dimensions. Nobody really agrees on what they mean, but we have cases where it's clear that BCIs have induced changes in personality or expression of sexuality as well. Musk's Neuralink, which the SpaceX and Tesla founder has described as a Fitbit in your skull, is far from the only BCI around. Cochlear implants, which work to heal deaf people here, have been around for decades, while chips designed to predict seizures in patients have also proved to be helpful because of BCIs in use. But that's where Neuralink are and similar products differ. Most of the existing BCIs on the market, as well as the majority of BCIs in development behind the scenes, are designed for specific medical purposes. Musk, though, has framed Neuralink as less of a medical aid and more like a smartphone or smartwatch. That, he says, will soon be streaming music directly into your brain or even allowing you to compete with super advanced AI. And while someone with paralysis, Parkinson's, or debilitating mental illnesses, or any other ailment might be understandably inclined to risk potentially very bad BCI side effects, those researching and those reaching for a brain chip in order to track their steps to work smartphone widgets might want to think extra hard about what exactly sticking a Fitbit into their cranium is worth. This is another thing that people have mixed feelings about. Is it worth it? Is it not? This is now being tested on people. People are having mixed feelings about it. Some of them are kind of like, yeah, it's okay. Others are not handling it properly. If you are enjoying today's show, please hit the thumbs up and put hashtag strange news to place your name in a giveaway for a Starbucks gift card. Oh, yeah, that's going to be awesome. Moving on to our next story. Oh, and that draw will be at the very end of the show. This next one, I have mixed feelings about this article. And it's not the article itself, but it's the person that is telling this story. And it's a UFO sighting that took place over Stonehenge. Very cool place. We have heard people tell stories of seeing UFOs right in this area. There are many researchers that think that it is a hotspot as well. So, a man who claims to be a Stonehenge worker says that he has proof of a shape-shifting UFO flying over the historic site and claims he has seen it multiple times. The anonymous worker shared their news on TikTok, saying the first incident occurred around 2 years ago and was captured on camera by security guards. He claimed to have been one of the few to have seen the footage and felt the need to share the story now, 2 years later, as news of balloon like UFOs appearing in the sky across the world has surfaced. The worker, who goes by Neolithic Wayne on TikTok, said the security guards have currently been keeping the footage to themselves, but he's hopeful that it will be released to the public soon. I just checked his TikTok today. Nothing's been released yet. This story that I'm telling you right now was only released 3 days ago on this TikTok. So describing this in this 3-minute video that he tells his story, he says, what happened in June 2 years ago, in the midst of the lockdown, at about 5 o'clock in the morning, there was a balloon spotted by the two security guards. At least that's what they thought it was, because it was floating without any noise off in the distance and it was quite low. It was coming towards Stonehenge. But it was interesting enough for them both to get out their mobile phones and start recording. So we have very steady iPhone footage and some Android footage as well, meaning we're getting different angles, multiple witnesses. Interesting. And while they're filming, it changes shape. It changes into, how do I put it? It almost looks like a jetpack, someone in a jetpack. I was quoting there. Continuing the quote. Then it changes shape again and it becomes more cylindrical with lots of shining triangles coming out of it. As they're watching and obviously getting freaked out by it all, it changes shape yet again, and this time it inverts itself. All of this is silent, and all of this is very close to a lot of military bases. The thing floats over Stonehenge, does a little maneuver, then drifts off into the distance. It seemed to be propelled. It changes direction at least once, and then it drifts off towards an army base. And he keeps mentioning that this was very quiet. This whole event, this whole fiasco, the craft was quiet. But it got so out of hand, it got so wild, that one of the security guards took a week off work due to shock. Now, at the end of the video, this anonymous person urged people to be patient, to wait for the footage to emerge. And that's where my issue lies. Now, I'm aware that wasn't his this case wasn't his particular sighting. He wasn't a witness. He has to get that footage from the two security guards. I can get that. I can be kind of difficult. But let me put it like this. If you're not too sure if you're going to get that information, if you're going to get that evidence, you shouldn't tell people to be patient, come back to my channel when it's ready. I get it if you're doing it for like promotional means, like if you're doing a book or you have a documentary coming out and you have a trailer, you're doing these teasers. I get that. I do. I think that's it's a part of marketing. But for me, it irks me the wrong way when someone says, if you want more information, buy my book. If you want more information, do this and do that. Or you got to wait who knows how long. And in this field, it's been a lot of that. It's been a lot of waiting. It's been a lot of just wait, or I have all the answers, but buy my conference, buy my book. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. We all need to make money in some way, and that's so terrible to say for many. But and it brings in it also helps a lot of people to have this sense of closure. But when you're telling people to wait and to be patient, it's like, how much longer do we have to be patient for this? How much longer and why? So that's where the story kind of bothers me. But it is an interesting one because we have heard of multiple stories of UFOs being seen since around Stonehenge, and so it's cool that someone that's saying that they're a Stonehenge worker has seen multiple crafts and that hopefully a video will be coming out. Now, if that video comes out, would they post it on TikTok? Would TikTok allow it? How would that whole thing work? So there's a lot of questions in regards to this story. There's a lot of questions on the footage that's being sat on right now. So all we can do is wait and see. The link to the article will be in the description box below. If you want to follow this TikToker to see that evidence, please be my guest. I'll keep an eye out on it as well to see if it's worth my time and worth your time. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Sky's the limit at this point. Now we're getting into the rather strange stuff because you can have a wearable beanbag. No, you heard me right. You can wear a beanbag and you can be comfortable anywhere. And I love this. I want this. but sadly they're out of stock. So, a Japanese garment company recently made international news headlines for this new creation, a wearable beanbag that allows you to comfortably sit or lay down anytime, anywhere. The slogan for this is hilarious. It's called "Cushion That Ruins People." That is their slogan. And why is that? You're right. Why is that? Because they believe that the Japanese designers that basically revolves around offering customers extreme levels of comfort and they don't ever have to move, thus ruining their lives. So once again, their slogan is cushion that ruins people because you'll never have to move again. I love it. The concept was born out of the idea of a cushion that would allow you to totally let go anytime, anywhere. So you put this on, you chill out in the living room, and chill out in the bathroom if you want to, chill out in the kitchen, chill out in your bed if you wanted to as well, and you'll always be comfortable. I have another image here. Here's another one. I mean, does this not look like an Oompa Loompa to you? Like in the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the person that turns into a blueberry. This is what I think of when I see this. But look how happy the model is. Like she's living her best life. Look how comfy she is. She's on her phone. She's having a good time. Well, they're out of stock, like I had mentioned, and I am sad about this because I would buy one. And there's 3 different sizes for little kids to like medium-sized kids and adults, ranging for the small sizes $60 to the adult size 119. And this weighs about 11 pounds. So not only are you getting like a really comfy beanbag, but you're also getting what are those called? Like weighted blankets that like it gives you this level of comfort because they're kind of heavy when they lay on top of you, which is interesting. So it's 11 pounds or about 5 kilograms, and it looks amazing. It looks luxurious. And also, this is the future. 2023. This is what we're getting. We're not getting flying cars. No, we're not getting that. We're getting beanbag dresses. Nice. Nice, nice. Would you get one? Yes or no? Would you get one of these beanbag outfits? You know my answer. It's a definite yes if it wasn't out of stock. I also don't have room. Uh, wor- it wouldn't work, but it doesn't matter. DJ, I don't know. That's a good question. Uh, are they fireproof? I don't know. But that's a valid question. Do not cook with these. If you have one, do not cook with one of those. Heck yeah. Yes. Yep. Yeah. Van is saying no. Right, Danny? Hey, I wouldn't need a sofa or a bed. Yes, yes. Smart thinking. Become a minimalist, right? Just get one and you're good to go. So I'm putting up a poll. Would you wear this beanbag? Yes, no, or as a gift for someone? I just posted that and I'm reading that to you now. But a gift, that's like the best gift on the planet. Yeah, that and like some ice cream. Wow, amazing. So, before we move on, I'm going to give you a minute to answer that poll. Yes, no, or as a gift. I can't answer my own polls, and I'm sad about that, but I'm just going to add an extra percent that my answer is going to be yes. If you're enjoying this show, hit the thumbs up, and to win a Starbucks gift card, put in hashtag strange news to be a part of a drawing that we're going to do at the very end of the show. Right now we have 50 entries and there's 194 people watching. Come on, put in more entries. You have a chance of winning a Starbucks gift card, the first time that we're ever doing this on this channel. And let me just say, I'm pretty excited about it. So put in hashtag strange news in the live chat. At the very end of the show, we will do the drawing. I have 2 more articles for you. Let's see if we can finish them in 10 minutes. So, I am a sucker for sweets. I love chocolate, sugary pastries, anything that's sweet. Yeah, delicious. Well, this person, a thief admits stealing thousands of chocolate Easter eggs. A man broke into the UK industrial park to steal almost 200,000 chocolate Easter eggs as he pleaded guilty to theft and criminal damage. This person is Joby Poole, 32 years old, and he used a metal grinder to break through a gate at an industrial park in Telford, Central England on Saturday, then used a stolen semi-truck to tow away a trailer load of Cadbury cream eggs and other chocolate goods worth more than 31,000 pounds, being about $38,000 worth of chocolate. Police tweeted on Monday that shortly after the break in, officers stopped a vehicle that presumably purported to be the Easter Bunny on a highway and arrested a man on suspicion of theft. But when Mr. Poole was realizing that he was being chased down, he was like, I've been caught. He gets out of the semi truck, he puts his hands up, and he says, yeah, I stole the chocolate. I stole all of the Cadbury chocolate here. Yes, $38,000 worth. That's a lot. So he pleaded guilty, and we're expected to see him be sentenced next month. Do you like Cadbury chocolate? Do you like these eggs? Okay. As I told you at the beginning, I love sweets. I love chocolate. I don't like these. I don't get the texture because you're getting like gooiness and the concept. It's like you're eating a raw egg, and that's where it bothers me. The concept, the texture, and the colors of the white and yellow. No, no. But Cadbury chocolate in general, delicious. Totally dig it. Cadbury eggs, it's the texture for me. Yeah, Central Toast, kind of gross. I feel you on that one. But it is very, very popular in the UK. Here, people are kind of digging it. I don't know how popular it is here in the United States, but for me, I try everything. And I tried it, and I was like, no. From that poll, 56% of you would not buy the wearable beanbag. I am shocked. More than half of you were like, no, I'm not feeling it. And dang. But I can get it. I can get it. It's kind of big and bulky. Kind of dangerous too, if you think about it, if you're cooking with it. But with these eggs, do you like these Cadbury eggs? Yes? No? TMI says no. Dope knows that's right. Hashtag strange news if you want to win a Starbucks gift card at the end of the show. It's just you, Cristina, says Chris. Okay. Thank you. Stargazer, I feel you. I'd wear it. I don't care. Paul says Cadbury eggs are good. Butter says, love those eggs. I like them. So we're getting the majority are saying, yes, you like these eggs. Some of you are saying, no, not too much. If you grow up with it, okay, yeah. But I mean, it's texture. I have one more article for you today, and this one is hilarious. While it is related to Valentine's Day and that just passed, who knows? Maybe they're going to do it again next year. I'm going to share this image here as a visual aid. Okay. So, do you want your ex-Valentine arrested? Police offer weekend special. Authorities in Mississippi were offering a sweet deal for those wanting to get at their ex for Valentine's Day. The police department says it was offering a Valentine's Day weekend special. If a person has an ex-Valentine who has committed a crime or has outstanding warrants, police want to know their location and they'll take care of the rest. Being facetious, police said that the special comes with a set of limited edition pink bracelets, free transportation with a chauffeur included. Guests will experience a professional photo shoot, and the evening will be topped off with a special Valentine's dinner. Amazing. And it continues that we realize how special this all inclusive deal is, and you may be tempted to provide additional referrals. We encourage you to call and tell us about your ex Valentine. But wait, there's more. If you act fast, your ex Valentine will also receive an exclusive orange jumpsuit. This year, give them a Valentine they will never forget. Hashtag tippin' ain't snitchin'. Hashtag Valentine's Day. I love it. That is so funny. For these policemen to do something like this, to get on a joke, it's not really that much of a joke, but because there are consequences involved, but to make a serious matter comical, being like, "Hey, look, if you know someone, if your ex-Valentine did a few bad things, just give us a call, right? And we'll help you out." And it really would be something that you wouldn't forget. So, will they do this again next year? Maybe. Hashtag Mississippi Police. That's how you do it. Well, those are all the articles that I have for you today. So, you know what that means? It's time for the draw. And we have 55 entries. So, you have a minute left, okay, to put in hashtag strange news to win a Starbucks gift card. It's the first time that we're doing this. I'm going to share my screen of the draw because you got to see it to believe it, right? We got 55 entries. I'm going to give you 60 seconds to put in hashtag strange news in the live chat to put your name in this entry to win. Okay? Few seconds. Come on. All right, guys, we're drawing it. We're drawing it right now. Hashtag strange news. Put it in. Put it in. Drawing. Let's see who is gonna win. This is totally random, so I don't get to pick. Oh, Applejack 971, you are the winner of a Starbucks gift card. So, congratulations. Whoop whoop. You, Applejack, you need to send me an email at christina@strangeparadigms.com so I can get that sent over to you. Then, for those listening to this on podcast or watching this after the fact, right? Join live next week and we will do another prize draw for a mystery prize. So if you want to win next week, jump in live 3 p.m. PST Friday next week. You and me. All right, Applejack, send me that email to Christina@strangeparadigms and I will get that sent to you. Oh, isn't that fun? I thought that was pretty fun, right? Well, that is it for today. Out of all of the articles that we covered, which one was your favorite? I mean, on the live chat, please let me know in the comments as well. I do read all of the comments. And we're going to do this all again next week. We do 3 live shows here every single week on this YouTube channel. Thank you to everyone watching this live. Thank you for everyone liking this video, all of my amazing moderators, all of the super chats, super stickers, YouTube members, and Patreon subscribers. I simply could not do this without you. That is it for today. And if you need help relaxing, falling asleep, meditating, check out my space ambient music channel at Cosmic Portals, where I am now doing a 24/7 live stream. Take a look at my space ambient music channel, Cosmic Portals. And if you want to continue this conversation, bring it over to the Discord server. That link is in the description box below as well, where you can speak to over 1,300 like-minded members about all of this and more. That's it for today. I'll see you next time. Be safe and remember, keep your eyes on the skies.